Okay, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me? Oh, great. I would love if someone would chat me and confirm they can hear me. That'd be awesome. Well, hoping that my voice is reaching you in the internet. What do you think? Is it working, Jay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, we're going to get started. I'm here to make some music and talk about what I'm doing. So, a few streams ago, we had fun sampling some jazz stuff that we ripped from YouTube, and promptly got a DMCA notice about our video, or whatever you call it. But I had a friend request to see some more sampling techniques today, and so I'm going to sample some stuff, and I think we can sample some things that'll be allowed to play you. I have sat down and grabbed a bunch of music from video games I have known and loved from the past. I'm going to severely date myself by using mostly games from the Super Nintendo era, as that was the console I had as a child. Thank you for texting, Monica. Appreciate the notification. And thanks, Robot. I can see you there behind the ring light a little bit. Well, not your face. That would be weird if I could see your face. Okay, so the request was to demonstrate some different ways to go about sampling. So sampling is when you take someone else's audio and use it for yourself. It can take a lot of different forms. Basically, music can either be played live or it can be recorded and played back. And that is so a sample is like a piece of audio that was recorded previously. And it can be anything from a single event, like a random sound, to an entire piece of music. I think generally when people are talking about sampling in the context of a song, they're talking about sampling music from a song and not yeah. Anyway, so we're just gonna pick through some of these things that I've downloaded and talk about what we might be able to do with them. There's a few different ways you can use samples in your production. Keeping in mind that there is a legal weird thing around it too. So if you're a music producer and wanting to get into sampling more, just remember that if you plan on releasing things publicly, the use of other people's intellectual property in your own creative work is fraught with legal challenges. And so it's something you can do, but you gotta be aware of that stuff. So I'm just gonna start listening to some things, and hopefully y'all can hear my my cue stream here. So I went through and snagged a bunch of video game music off of YouTube, and I think maybe accidentally got some other stuff too. So we'll see which we have. Maybe I'll just start grabbing things and listening to them. So I don't have any plan here. I don't know what I'm going to do with these things, but I'm just going to maybe listen to a smidge and talk about what we hear and what we might be able to do. And I'll start grabbing things I think might be interesting to sample, and then we'll make some music out of it. So in terms of how to sample things, there's a few different ways to go about it. But like one of like the main ways that you see people do this is like, and the simplest thing that you hear people do probably is like you hear people grab loops of music out of stuff. So like a most common thing that happens right now is like using like lo-fi hip hop or rap or stuff. Like people grab a loop for something that seems interesting, make it fit to a 4/4 bar like beat, and you're off to the races. So maybe let's start by trying to do that. We'll pull a loop out of something interesting. I'm gonna go for some deeper cuts because there's some like maybe like pretty popular jams on here. Like I'm guessing a lot of you recognize this song. Well, spoiler alert, it's their names on the screen now, but but you know I'm gonna go for a little deeper cuts. So let's just we can hit them in quasi alphabetical order, and I'm gonna start here with this song from Chrono Trigger, which I don't remember very well. So I just went through and picked songs from games that like I didn't remember. They're like some ones that I was like, oh, this is a fond memory, or others that are like I don't remember this at all. So we'll see what this thing is like. You can see right away looking at the sample on the timeline that like there's there's like two parts to it, and it looks like some random things at the beginning. Let's just listen. Whew, that is screaming in my headphones. So what we have is a bunch of kind of like weird noises, right? Like it's clearly like supposed to sound like seagulls and I think fireworks. I believe it's like a festival by the sea is the scene in this game. But then there's actual some music here that comes up too. Oh, but of course it's not going to play it where I have to because I'm on stream. Oh, this is going to be perfect. Ooh. Spicy chord change. Ooh. Sounds like a little, it's like a chromatic mediant, something like that. Nice, interesting chord progression. So cool. We have some percussion, or like so I shouldn't say call it percussion yet. We have some single event sounds, and we have some like whole composition here. Robot's chiming in that he did a book report on this game once, and I think that is hilarious. So I love that so much. Oh my gosh. I play this game a lot. This is if you've never played Chrono Trigger, you should play Chrono Trigger. It's one of the best classic RPGs of all time. If you're into 2D sprites and all that fun stuff. So because I said we were going to talk about loops, let's talk about the second half of this first. And I'll show you how I like to approach doing loops in Ableton, like sampling loops. I kind of like to fuss with things a little bit in a way that maybe is going to look really weird, but it's a good way to get a warped result fast. So the main concern here is that I want to get this loop looping in a way that agrees with the timeline here. So like in your audio software, on this timeline, you can see this kind of grid that exists, and like this grid's representing where the program thinks the beat is. If you turn on the metronome, which is this double dot icon here in the upper left, you can actually hear where the program thinks the beat is. I'm not sure if that click and my snapping are in sync for you, but they are for me. So, so that's like where it thinks the beat is. So if I drop a piece of music in here and it doesn't agree with where the program thinks the beat is, I'm gonna have a really hard time finding a loop because the loop is gonna be some irregular length on the grid. So, you know, if I, doesn't have anything to do with the metronome right now. So we need to force this thing to have something to do with the metronome. We're going to make them agree with each other. So here's how I like to do it in Ableton. This technique is kind of a pain if you've gotten some distance in the way in your production, but if you're just starting your thing, this works great. So the first thing I'm going to do is like get into my sample here, and I'm going to trim it. Notice I'm kind of unfamiliar with the way this looks. I'm using the Discord theme for this right now, so I'm having it's a little different navigational experience. So if you zoom in real close, you can see where the sample starts. I don't need to get it perfect, just like somewhere close to the beginning. Probably right there where that little hit starts is good. So now, this will at least start. And it feels a little more in sync. Now it's like at least the beginning beat is lined up, but clearly the tempo is not correct. Oh, Gabe says we're getting some pops. That might mean we are. Gabe, is it the Ableton audio or is it in the microphone audio? I would love to know that. They're running separately into the mixer here. Yeah, audio difficulties. It wasn't even working when the stream first started, so. Okay, cool. Yeah, we were having some issues with the mic setup. Are we powering it a different way than we were before?
It's just by battery now.
Oh, I wonder.
It's feeding straight into the camera.
It would be really bizarre if that. Yeah, might be something about it related to that.
I cranked it down a little bit, so we'll see how that.
Yeah. Jay's gonna try and mess with it, but thanks for the feedback, dude, and let us know if it continues. So like I'm gonna listen back to this, and I kind of get the feeling that this thing's slower than my tempo, just from. Yeah, the metronome's too fast. But you can also hear that there's this kind of like, we have this regular like kind of arpeggiated thing going on with the this kind of harp sound, which gives us kind of like a regular kind of click, and we can kind of hear where like a next beat might supposed to start. So we can like mute the metronome and count along, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Boom. So like, you know, if you're counting along, you can kind of like that felt like, to my ear, 16 beats. And so if I can like find that point and place that where the 16th beat ought to be, then we're in good shape. But another way of approaching this, if that's like difficult or challenging, is like you can just like, while this thing is unwarped, I can just go up here and change the tempo. And so as the tempo changes, it's going to appear that my sample is sliding around, where really it's just like the grid is moving around underneath my sample. And so I'm just going to like try and find a spot where those arpeggios agree with the tempo. And I'll turn that metronome on again so we can hear it. So now I've gotten slower than the beat, or than the original song. So I did a little sneaky thing. I noticed that this, I don't know if you can see it if I zoom in, but this little bump here in the waveform was like right where that downbeat was. So I just like yanked the tempo around until I saw that kind of line up there. I don't think it's perfect yet, but we might hear it loop nicely. So now like I've adjusted the tempo to match what I feel like is the tempo of the loop. I may be wrong here, but we can at least like hear it. So I'm gonna like set a loop point here. Now this loop is going to be kind of awkward for a reason that'll become immediately obvious. A new instrument is going to enter and then immediately get cut off. But sometimes that's cool. Not a terrible loop, but like a weird fade in there happened. So what you can do is like slide the loop race over and like start at a different point. So maybe I'm gonna start. I'll start the loop right here. So I'll like slide this around until I find a section of it I like. Oh, that's looping beautifully. So I lucked out here. That was really easy. So this one was easy because it has a regular metronomic part in it that I can hear being regular. It also helps that it's produced at a, like, it seems pretty straight up 114 beats per minute and not some fraction. There's nothing preventing someone from working at 114.37 beats per minute, in which case we'd be fudging this a little bit. But that looped pretty well without any extra help. But now I'm doing a thing where I'm looping it, like I have this section and I'm looping it from kind of like the middle of it, and it's just kind of clunky looking now. So I want to fix that. So now that I at least know that this clip is like where I want it to be in relation to the grid, this is an Ableton specific workflow, but should translate pretty much anywhere. I can turn warping on, and now this thing is like locked to the grid in this way that I like it. And I can go in here and like set my like loop size and length. So I know I want a like 4-bar loop. So I'll select an entire 4-bar region here. Make sure that this number down here agrees at the bottom of the screen, 4.0.0, and set a loop point there. So now my loop here is looping. So now I can also, like, if I slide this loop race around, it'll jump the start flag to later points. So you can, like, I don't know how obvious that is looking here, but like, you can see it kind of like scanning through different sections of the loop. So what I'm actually going to do is start this loop at the beginning of bar 5 and have it play most of the way through, and then like kind of start again a couple bars or a few beats before. So check this out. Seamless loop point. Love it. So you can even do like one extra fun thing. Like say I wanted to create a special intro to a song that was like, we're gonna make something based around this loop. First idea, best idea in here. So, but we're gonna do this fun thing. But we're gonna actually set the start point of this particular clip back to bar 1. So you can do this kind of neat thing in Ableton where your start point of a loop doesn't have to be inside the loop itself. So check it out. It'll play the first 4 bars of this loop and then start looping kind of these middle 4.
Like, I can hear you now.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah, you're back up. I just have to, like, delete the source and add it back again.
Like over and over again?
Yeah, I'll just stop messing with it.
That's really weird.
So you're good now.
Okay. All right. I think we're back in business. Sorry, we're trying some different audio routing things here, trying to streamline and perfect our little setup. So some things aren't liking to speak to each other very well. So I'm going to show a different, sweet. So I'm going to show a different way to approach this because we had some of these funny little one-shots here at the beginning. So another workflow that you can use is pulling out one-shots, and Ableton gives you a couple cool ways to do that. So I'm going to drop the first half of this loop over here onto a simpler track. So the original thing, like I just did, that's like a timeline. Oh, great. Thank you, Gabe. Good job, Jay. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, what I did with that loop is I just like dropped that on the timeline. Any audio program that has a timeline editor and a looping function should be able to do something similar. The next thing I'm going to do is something that's kind of more specific to hardware, or I should say hardware. It's specific to the tool that I'm about to use, which is a sampler. So a sampler is either virtual or physical instrument that's designed to play back pieces of audio in a creative way. And so I'm going to see if I can get anything useful at all out of those weird bird noises from the beginning of this. And so I've got, I think I'm going to do this over here on the push because it's like just nice and convenient looking, which is great. And I can switch my sampling modes over here, which is cool too. So like in the upper right here, we can get between a few different sampling modes. There's classic mode, one-shot mode, and slicing mode. Classic mode plays back my sample, warts and all, and I can play multiple versions of it to play like a chord. Not going to sound like much right here. One-shot mode is like for sampling drums. It's going to like be sampled like a drum. And slicing mode, which is the thing I want to do now, takes a sample and slices it up. So each of my pads here now represents a portion of this sample. There's a little scale in there almost. What? So like it's kind of fun. Like I'll put something through the slicer and then I'll just like play around with it. Like what is it doing? Like that's really interesting. That's just I can zoom in over here and you can see that's just a sample getting cut off. But that sounds super cool. So it's not unusual for me to have like a few tracks that are like a slice like this, like in a production, because I'm not gonna find all of these things useful, and there's no point in me trying to make them all useful. I'm not sure how I want to use this yet though. Like so, like two ideas that come to mind is like there's some drums in here. But there's tonal stuff in here too. So like depending on the kind of thing you're doing, like one or the other idea might be more useful. Because we have a lot of tonal material coming up here, like I'm gonna use this for drums. And I'm gonna move right along. So I wanna actually like, this particular bit of the loop, it's kind of long, so I want to like add another slice in there. I don't think I'm not sure. Can I do that on push? There's like there's a shortcut for it, and I never learned my push shortcuts very well. God, somebody tell me what it is. If somebody knows the shortcut on push G for this, chat it in, would you? In the meantime, I'm gonna place a transient marker manually on the computer, and here it is. So I can, oops. I kind of want like some like short little portion of something too. Let's get another marker in there. And just get a tiny little portion of it. Cool. We got some stuff cooking up here. I'm not ready to like throw down a percussion track yet. But we're gonna have this ready like on deck. know, maybe I'll get a little hi-hats going in there. That sounds kind of fun. So I'm just gonna turn on the metronome so I like don't get up too bad. And I'm just gonna like capture something when it sounds good. That's probably good enough for me. So just play the first rhythm that came to mind. I'm gonna go in here and quantize it because I don't care. So I'll give us like some sort of like little something to play off of. So let's sample something else. I said I was gonna sample a bunch of stuff. So we've got a loop, we got a little bit of drums. Let's just pull another random one and see what we get. There was something I wanted. All of these I had some intention with. Here's a Banjo-Kazooie one. Oh yeah, sometimes Live will auto warp stuff, and I really don't want that. There was some reason we thought this would be a good choice. I can't remember what. But okay, so the first thing that comes to mind is like this is really busy and doesn't really like sound immediately like it's gonna go with what we have set up. But let's see what we can do with it. There's like there's a steady, cool, like there's like boom bap drum beat thing element to it, which is kind of neat. It's so like. One thing we can, okay, let's check this out because this might yield a weird result. I'm gonna loop this one real quick, even though like it doesn't sound like something that should go with what we're doing at all. It's gonna when I'm done with it. So we're just gonna go line that loop point up. We're gonna follow a similar procedure. So since this is so regular, Ableton might be able to warp this one on its own. So you can try doing this thing where I've got this 1-1 point set up here, and I can right click and say warp from here. And see if that works. So if that works, I should be able to turn the metronome on and it should sound good. It's perfectly in sync now. Awesome. So I can't, it's just absurd though. Okay, here's where we're gonna have to get into like a little music theory moment. I know Gabe, you're with me here, but when you're sampling stuff, you have to keep in mind not only like the thing you're after in the song, but all the other things that are going on in the song at the same time too. So like, there's a bunch of elements in here, right? There's a bass line, there's drums, there's harmony, and there's a melody. Or there's like an arpeggiated, it's a banjo melody, so it's like a sort of banjo-y melody kind of thing. But it's gonna do something. It's gonna want its own thing. It's gonna have its own opinions about what it wants to go with. So one thing I know is that the thing we started with is pretty open, like it's an easy thing to insert other harmony sounds into because it's only like the two chords that are part of this first loop are compatible with each other in a nice way. They are C major and F major, or it's some kind of like I think it's C and F. It might be C and D minor. I didn't pay that close attention. Yeah, that's C major 7, F major 7. So like that in numbers, if we want to talk Nashville numbers, that's the 1 and the 4. And so the 1 and the 4 have a lot of things that go well with them, but I can't start superimposing other chord progressions on top of that without sounding like I'm clashing with something. And so if I'm gonna borrow this thing, it's easier if I don't grab the part with the chord change. Boom. This is also in the key of C because video game composers are apparently not very creative. So if I play, this should work here. So notice that like you can hear the original loop changing chords and this one doesn't. Well, we could make it. So while this is a loop on the timeline, we can transpose it. So I'm going to shift it up to the 4th. Oh, it's twice around. That's right. Yeah, that's hot. So you get the idea. This is a poor candidate for that. But this is not what I wanted to do with this. I wanted to try and find something, like I wanted to like use it for its drummy drums. So first off, it's really fast. So I'm gonna hit the divide by 2 button. That's gonna cut the speed of it in half. And if we drop the pitch of it by an octave, it should sound fairly normal. So what I think it doesn't go very well with it because there's like this implied bass motion that's not happening in this one. So I'm going to make it fit a little better with some EQ. So like I'll pull the low end out of this one, and hopefully that'll like take the implication of the lack of a chord change away from it and let it float on top of the other idea. Oh, should probably play it where it repeats. That's kind of funny. But it fits better now. It's not overpowering the original idea. I'm still not quite there with it. I'm going to use a little Ableton trick to turn this into something more percussive. Here in the warp mode options, we can set our set this thing to the forward only. Set these guys to transients is fine, and we're going to cut this dude down. I don't know what these what the proper names for these are. This is the transient loop mode and the transient envelope amount. I'm going to quantize this so it's all perfecto. So I can like so I like that little feed it into some reverb. Make sure it's a nice little loop. Yeah, oh, that's not a nice little loop. Let's try to loop the entire thing. I do not want to do that. What is the second half of this now? I can't remember. What does it sound like with it slowed down? That's a weird choice. So like so this thing's screaming A flat dominant 7, which is not really gonna jive super hot with a lot of what we've got going on. But you could, if you pitch that down, it kind of might make a wacky, maybe make something wacky. So, so say I want to like use this loop, but I want the second half of it to play different notes. Well, I can go in here to my envelopes and select clip, transposition, and transpose it. So my thinking is, like that doesn't sound very good with F, but that kind of does, a half step down. So just for fun, let's transpose it a half step down here. If I learned anything from studying jazz, it is this. Every wrong note is 1/2 step away from a right note. So if you play a wrong note, move it 1/2 step up or 1/2 step down, and you'll probably be good. And then if you do that twice, you'll sound like you meant to do it. That's the secret of jazz. Okay, so now it's like turned into something kind of like a little more useful. It's definitely kind of like cheesy, but we like that around here. Let's do something weird to it too. I'm just gonna add. I have this effect called 4 to the floor pumper, which causes things to fade in every beat. I'm gonna change it to eighths. I'm gonna try and do something to kind of create a little more shape of this thing. I'm not doing it. Oh, we're gonna play with that phase control as an idea in this track for sure. That was interesting. Okay, banking little ideas for later. I gotta finish a song sometime here, and I'm just like, oh man, we gotta pick up the pace here. So, on to another sample. Let's see. Here, I think we decided this was gonna be a good switch or something. I have some weird ideas for this that I don't know if y'all are gonna like it. It's gonna get a little wacky in here. This is pretty fun. So remember I said like I did that whole thing with lining it up and working it on the timeline. That whole thing doesn't really work now because if I start changing the tempo, it's gonna mess up the thing I did earlier. So I'm gonna like make this warp the old-fashioned way, whatever that means. So this thing actually like needs to either speed up or slow down a little bit. So I'm gonna turn warping on now. Is that what I want to do? No, what do I want to do? Well, okay. There's a few different ways you can go about this. I'm gonna try it this way. So another interesting relatively new feature of Ableton is you can stretch these if you use the right keyboard shortcut. Which for some reason, oh, it's because the warping's on. So I warp this. Now I should be able to shrink it. Boom. So look at that. Do you see how that like lines up all nicely right here? What are we gonna do with this? That's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a transition effect. First idea, best idea.
You should be good again.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me now. Sorry, friends, for the troubles. Oh, yeah. So I thought this would be a good one to grab just because this has like a few little... So like when you're listening for things to sample, if you can find isolated drums, you can use them. So I'm going to grab this like few seconds from the beginning of Spyro. Or this song from Spyro. And slice them. But you know, we got like some like a little bit of drums here, so like maybe we can get like something going on in that section. Let's see if anything comes to mind. I probably want to like. I want to make these drums like drums. So let's do that. We're gonna put drum bus on it and see if that does the trick, and if not, we're gonna compress the crap out of them. I do love this like a subharmonic synth here in Ableton. Add some low end things that need it. I'm turning off the transients controls. On to something here. I almost feel like this could be tuned. I've been thinking about IDM music lately. That's pretty fun. I like that kind of groove a lot. Good time. So get this guy looping to. Okay. Onward. It's like it's starting to sort of sound like music, right? I'd like to think so. Oh, maybe make a nice transition effect. Let's just do that. Let's use that. Make you work. So again, it's a lot. You know, sample preparation is like a thing. It's a process. You spend time dorking out. Oh, look at this very pure triangle wave in this track. Interesting. So, okay, another thing you can do with sampling. Let's just do this with this one because this is actually sounding pretty cool like this. You don't have to make anything like locked into any kind of grid if you don't want to. And a lot of like the coolest like old school like sampler compositions like involve this sort of like unquantized sound. So like, and I kind of like how it's sort of like. It's kind of like doing triplets almost. It does have a kind of a Boards of Canada thing going on about it, don't it? So it's all kind of like fun and well and good to get dropped on the timeline too, but like sometimes it's nice to get these things under your fingers and make them like more interesting. So I wonder if any of these would like translate well to that. Let's see. I'd like some one shots out of these. Let's see what we can find. Prehistoric Turtlesaurus. Ah, bingo! That's a weird one shot. So, I'm looking for isolated sounds here because I want to make a sampled instrument. So, all these other samples have just been like played back in some way, but I want to actually like turn that into an instrument or something. It's gonna be really, really strange, but it's gonna work. So I got my sampler going here, and I'm now gonna stick in need actually out of one shot mode even. I'm gonna be in classic mode because I want to. Get some like creepy overtones in there. So I'm gonna high pass this a little bit. I don't like that like low guitar. So I got an instrument now. Whether this instrument will be cool or not, I do not know. But let's tune it. So the one thing that they don't do for you conveniently here is like tune your samples for you. If anyone's used the like sampler in GarageBand on iOS, it does this automatically. It's really cool. We're not gonna get a freebie because the sample is so weird. So I'm gonna brute force this one. So here's how tuning samples works in sampler. Generally, a sampler expects you to feed it sounds that are tuned to the key of C. So when I play a C note comes out. But that is not what's happening here. Well, first off, you're hearing that wee wee wee. You're hearing the vibrato, but also I'm pretty sure this note is E. Seems pretty much like an E note to me. So I need to transpose an E note down to C. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4 semitones. So I go over into my sampler. I guess I can do it on the push here. Simpler, get into my deep menu, global, transpose. And we're going to transpose it down 4 semitones. So now at least it should be playing something that resembles a C note when I play a C note. So you notice that like the lower I play it, the slower that the descending stuff goes on. Kind of fun. This sound might be interesting with some reverb. And let's see if we're inspired to do anything with it. This is really accentuating the Boards of Canada vibe, is it not? Although I feel like if this were a Boards of Canada thing, it might be a little slower. But let's see if I'm inspired to like do anything with this thing. Kind of like that. I didn't like that idea. That's all I wanted. A little like kind of like funny little moment. Just trying to get a little vibey vibe going. So let's like make something weird happen there. Like I want to have like a little like breakdown. So it ends right there. So let's just do something wacky. Let's like I'm gonna take each beat of this sample, split it, and reverse it. Interesting. Or did not do the reverse. What did? You just really can't hear it. Maybe I'll do like every 2 then. Yeah, it's a little like switch up to the vibe in there. It was kind of subtle actually, and made it interesting. So let's arrange this just real quick because there's sort of a compositional idea emerging here. Now this all is going to come over. You're going to get dragged back though. Oops. So we're gonna have our little intro. So I'm always trying to like think about like how to like make parts like evolve and like keep things interesting. So I'm not trying to just like present all these loops in a static way. So like I said, I was gonna mess with the phase option on this knob. I didn't forget, so I'm gonna go through and do that real quick. I really wanted to hear what that would do. But so maybe let's like have this thing flip around out of phase. I want to make this a little more impactful too. So let's have this note repeat an octave down. Cool. I feel like it's like sounding a little compositional at this point. So okay, back to my samples. Keep playing the same ones over and over again, I feel like. Oh yeah, we didn't get into this one yet. Boop. So I'm just chucking these on a random audio tracks and then just like letting them go. You know, I'm deleting the tracks after I've like done what I've done with them because I don't need them anymore. And they just end up cluttering my set. Man, another key of C song. I didn't think I thought this would be harder. It didn't occur to me that if I grab video game music, every single song would be in the key of C. So let's make this into a one shot though. I think it's like the fun thing to do with it. Even though like, so I just want the last note. It's a single note by itself. But I don't want brrrr, I just want brrrr. Oh, there's some trippy reverb on it. That's neat. Okay, so again, I'm going to chuck this into my sampler. This one's also going to stay in classic mode. So something that becomes immediately apparent to me is that there's some like still notes ringing out that are lower than that note that are in here. You don't notice it so much here, but when you play a lower one. Oh, the reverb tail is very clean. Here's a fun sampling trick. Sample the reverb tail of something. So we're going to use just that. We're probably going to normalize it. Now I've got an interesting instrument that I think is tuned already. No, it's not. But I bet the Ableton tuner will work now. So I'm playing an F note. When it gives me a C, I'm playing G and it gives me, or I'm playing C and it gives me G. So I go over here, simpler, global. I'm gonna turn up the release time on the envelope here, so also like we get this nice decay. So that is a raw sample from Pokemon Red. I guess it's technically hitting a tiny amount of processing, but it's just being pitched down. So like, this could be the heart and soul of the track, you know? Like this is like a really interesting instrument that has a ton of character that it's really neat. Might capture that and like chuck that in the next bar after. I'm trying to like, create a thing where this tune does not repeat much. I'm gonna quantize that though, because that weren't no good. Maybe quantizing is not the best choice for this, so I'm just gonna make sure that that first note starts at the beginning. Yeah, just trying to think about making progress and creating forward momentum in the track without like just settling too deeply into the groove. Obviously, I could do a lot more here. Now this pad, I really like it. It's pretty big sounding, so I feel like we need to like tidy that guy up a little bit. I'm gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna get my high pass filter up. Now the sound is stereo, which is nice. We can spread that over here. Make it a little wider, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of a neat sound. And then we still have this thing that I sampled it from. I do kind of like love how this is all in key. So let's just like make something weird with it. Can we please warp? Fun. Just like a little random aside, a little kind of like interjection. This is kind of like a kind of absurd idea, but that's how I roll. Video games, video games. So like, you know, like if I was gonna make this into a real track, I'd probably like find some better sounding drums than that, but this is just for fun right now. Okay, let's grab some drum fills now because I am really bored with these drums. These drums are making me want to cry. So let's just get a fun, weird fill. Let's sample that. So I'm gonna right click on this clip. I'm just gonna try warping this a different way and see if it helps. I'm just gonna say right click. Can I? Oh, I can't even do that. No, never mind. Well, I'm not gonna do that because it doesn't work. All options are in here. Warp. I guess warp from here. So it started warping, but not on the downbeat. Aha! So I want to set 1-1 to this downbeat, and then warp from here. Sick. So I'm just gonna like grab these and use these as fills. So every until I decide otherwise, I'm just gonna like throw one of these at the end of every 8 bars. It's a little formulaic maybe, but so those are all the ones that'll work, so then I can chuck those on repeat. I'm not really that happy with that. I'll make it work a little better. So I'm just like forcing this to like relate to the beat somehow. It's kind of I like doing this. You get some interesting results this way. Dude. Have a specific idea of how I want this to go. Tedious, but sometimes worth it. Ah. Close enough for me. But that's kind of like a weird spot for that transition, actually. Like, we probably want, I guess I like, yeah, should have gone later, should have gone here. So we'll roll you out to there and then stop you. Yeah, so I've been copying automation along with some of this stuff, and I'm just gonna like clear some of that. Just like adding some variation for fun here, have this thing pan around, do some weird stuff. It's kind of almost a song, right? Let's find some more stuff. I didn't get into Star Ocean yet. I was tripping out trying to remember the name of this game, and I knew it was a JRPG from like sometime around the PlayStation era, and had to just Google PS1 JRPG and scroll through titles until I found it. Star Ocean 2. I think that part might just work. Maybe. Might be too tricky though. It's hard because this thing's just full of chords, right? Like now I can't like superimpose these chords over top of my other chords. I could try. Like if it were gonna work, like those seems like that would be the spot where it works. So let's just like that's why it sounds so dense. There's a major version of that chord playing right before it. So I need to like warp this a little bit. So I'm basically trying to like keep it to just those two chords. Okay. Gosh. So, does this fit? Probably not. So it needs to be like twice that long, that pattern. So this is going to be a real stretch, literally, figuratively. Ooh boy. Ooh boy. like a funny thing happening. So I gotta transpose this. So I'm not 100% sure what this chord is or where I'm going with this. So if you don't know, this is how you do this too. I guess it doesn't need to be that slow, does it? I want you to be. So, okay, so they're like this first chord's compatible. That works well enough for me. It's like changes the vibe a little bit. So maybe this will be like the thing that happens here. Like maybe this will be like an interesting transition. Like they kind of like blend together at the beginning there. So like maybe like I can like fade this sucker out. Like it just swells a little early. I really want that to be like there. That's kind of interesting. Like kind of gives some new life after hearing that same progression for so long. A little interesting different color there. I want like glitchy energy. This track still like feels slow. I feel like sometimes I struggle with like my music feels slow to me. I just want it like to like rage right now. Maybe not rage, but you know, I want to do something more up. Let's bring in this vibe. It's pretty tough, like trying to construct a track out of just these elements. Like, by the way, I'm really limiting myself here. But we're going to turn warping on. We will navigate to the 1-1 marker and right click it and say warp from here. Okay, Live has done something very funny where it's like taken this and made a polyrhythm out of it. This sample is in 3. 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. Oh man, you probably should. When we sampled commercial music on our previous stream, we did that Chicoria thing. We had to like edit the audio that we were sampling out of the video because we got a copyright strike. At Jay's suggestion, I'm using exclusively video game music, which isn't licensed in the same way. Our understanding is that because of like things like video game streaming, it's totally normal to have the music and sounds of games played over a stream. So the licensing on the internet is different for those compositions, is our theory. Whether that works in practice or whether we're editing out like 45 minutes of listening to samples on this video remains to be seen. But we will report back with the results. So what I really love about this is that it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If you count this as like a 4-count polyrhythm, it's stuck those 4 counts into 3 beats. So I just kind of want to hear what this does rhythmically over this, just because I love this kind of thing. Not for this track, but for my own personal music, this is the sort of thing that like I thrive on. It's a chaotic noise. It's a pretty wacky vibe though, is it not? So let's just. Let's see if we can just turn this into more percussion. Because I really like. I think it could be cool to add some kind of like not random, but more like syncopated percussion stuff. So again, we're gonna go into the warp mode, preserve the transients, set the warp transient loop mode to off, and then the transient envelope. It's a great groove. So like, what if we like, I want to like eliminate the tones. I don't want it to sound like tonal. I'm just gonna like trash it up real quick. So let's put some erosion on there. It's a very like F sharp minor pentatonic thing going on with it. So like we can shift it into something like works. The closest thing, well, our closest 2 options are, so we have F sharp minor pentatonic. And probably the closest option there is shifting it down to E minor pentatonic. That's very closely related. It's the closest minor thing that we can do. So we'll do that. We'll do 2 semitones down. I love this kind of crap. So I think it could be an interesting effect if I like scoop some of the low frequencies out of that. So I already got an auto filter out with the intention of doing this. Forgot about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like have this filter open up and make room for this other part when it comes in. So we're going to hear it's going to sound like a chord changes under it, but that melody should still exist. I probably don't need that fill there at the end. Apparently this is the end of the track, I guess. So I like wrote something with this pink instrument here to like match the earlier part, so I'm gonna write a different part. Oh, interesting. We've changed keys. Fun. We're in G now. Surprise. Oh, that's the wrong part. How did that happen? I don't know if any of that was any good. I think I settled on something I like towards the end there. I like this idea, actually. Oops. How do I make you work right, though? Sometimes stuff just requires a little bit of editing. I wish I was really great at doing this on the fly in a performative way, but I'm just a producer here. Maybe I'm gonna slide this a little earlier because I like this part. There's no bass in this track yet. Where am I gonna put? I don't think I found anything with an isolated bass sound. All right, we're gonna turn this sound effect from Super Mario 64 into a bass line. Okay, basses. So we're gonna make. We need isolating like a sound to be a bass sound. It's a little more particular. Certain things don't work super hot. You don't want a lot of harmonic content, especially if you're pitch shifting down something really low. However, we might do some shenanigans to this to make this work a little better for us. I'm gonna find the spot where the... I don't want all those notes. I just want... That's fine. So this guy is gonna get, well, let's just see what we can do with it in the simpler first. Before I try and do anything else with it. Oh, I need it. Here we go. It's too chordy. You won't get a bass sound out of that. Okay. I bet we can get it out of this, though. We're going to use the first note of the Final Fantasy VII theme as a bass. Let's pitch. So, noticed a few things. I noticed that this wave starts going down. I have a weird preference for it going up first. And so a little sampling tip. I'm going to normalize. If I make my sample start at a spot where it's the waveform is not at 0, it'll get a little click at the beginning. As opposed to... You just have to add a little... I'm gonna make a grime instrumental out of this. All right, let's tune this thing. Audio effects. Tuner. All right, it's in C and it starts on a C. Beautiful. So this bass is ready to use. However, this bass is only as long as this one note lasts. So luckily it's a nice pure note and it lasts for a while down there, but if I want it to be longer, I have to do the thing where I loop it. So if I go into simpler, I'm going to zoom way in because I'm only using this portion of the wave. Oh yeah, this thing's not mono either, which is kind of interesting. So there's a few different ways you can operate it, but like, where do I get these options? Is this? Oh, I'm in one shot by. That's right. Okay, got to be in classic mode. So in classic mode, you can do stuff like loop stuff. So you turn the looping. Oops, gosh, gotta know my push controls better. Some things map out certain ways in this and others don't. So now it's looping. It's not looping very cleanly because it's not looping a very clean section of it, but I think I might be able to isolate one. So I'm going to try and... I might be able to get more control over this on my computer. Oh no, it's all fractional here. Oh, I just had to toggle it. So now, like the 0 crossings are happening at the same time. So there's no audible click on the loop. Well, there's a little bit, but that's fine. So I got a perfectly usable bass instrument now. So I might just improvise the bass line to this. Yeah, it's gonna be like a funky thing. I'm just gonna get funky a little bit here. Go over to this push station here. was a really weird fade out that I just decided to do. That was fun. Flip some classic soul. I like the sound of that. Maybe we'll do that next time. Tabor, we ran into some trouble flipping some classic jazz last time where we got copyright stricken. So we're flipping video game samples tonight. But maybe we'll find some cool old soul stuff. There's some like, I'm pretty into some like cool like African funk and soul stuff, and a lot of that stuff was released only on tape and isn't like distributed on YouTube, so you can find some of that. AwesomeTapesFromAfrica.com is a really rad resource if you've never heard of that. So I want to like maybe go through and like do a smidge of quantizing just to make this a little better. Although like I played some pretty loose stuff and some of it was like maybe kind of cool, but I don't know. I'm hesitating to call anything that I did cool. But if you thought it was cool, tell me. If you thought it was not cool, also tell me. So like I think most of this stuff is pretty chill, but like I'm like snapping it to the 16th note right now. But I'm not going all the way. I'm snapping it about 70% of the way to the 16th note because like I know I like my timing a little tighter, but I don't like it perfect either. Yeah, I didn't like that note. Oh, something else I noticed while I was playing back is this thing's not set to mono, so I gotta make sure to set the voices to 1. I only want 1 bass note at a time. All that stuff is pretty cool, but I'll like give it a little snappy quantize. And then this stuff I'd like to be a little more like perfecto, and there's definitely some like boo-boo notes that you can just see fat fingered some of these. So let me just clean it all up real quick. You know, like if I was trying to finish this as a professional track before the end of 2 hours, I would probably do a lot more editing here and like care a bit more about how this sounded. But that was kind of cool. I just want to get to a point where I can listen back and smile at my work and be like, I've done something today. So we're almost there. Oh yeah, took me a second to catch on to the schema here of the new chord progression too. I want to make sure. I think I like flubbed that a little bit. When that new thing comes in, it changes the vibe here. Yeah, I definitely didn't nail that transition. Okay, I think I'm ready to like listen back because gosh, Jay has been sitting listening to the song for a long time now. So let's so to summarize. Oh, I keep doing this. I have my Control S reflexes really hard. So I mean to hit something else, but I just like hit save like it's a reflex. Anyways, so I have now 12 tracks. These are all sampled from games and mostly from different games. There's some overlap. We have some one shots. We have some drums. We have some loops. We have some irregular loops. We have some fills. We grabbed a bunch of things in a bunch of different ways. Maybe like, okay, let's just do a smidge of sweetening. I said I was gonna do one more thing, but let's just make it sound nice and fat. We're gonna just like make the master sound good. We're gonna do a couple little things to the master track because I haven't shown this yet. I'm realizing. I like to like sort of do like a little faux master on a track. Like if you're gonna like export it, it's nice to hear what it's gonna sound like a little like more exciting. So to that end, I will do a little excitement to my track. I'm going to do a low shelving boost a little bit below 100. I'm going to boost high shelves above 5K. I'm going to scoop a little 300, just like I was telling Jay about earlier, because that 300 can be a little muddy mess. I'm going to add 1 dB of drive with the saturator. That's all I will do with it. And then I think I'm just going to let it hit the limiter and pump it up 5 dB. And that will leave us with something that sounds a lot. So like, I don't recommend that you like master your tracks with like just some random settings like this, but this is going to sound a lot more fat and exciting than it did before. That's okay. 1 second, we're gonna play this for you. So I can A/B a louder section of the song real quick with it if you're curious. So here's before. And here's after. Ooh. So I'm already hitting that master channel pretty hard. Yeah, I'm actually peaking without any of that. I didn't notice that because I have not been paying attention. So the hot tip, if you're gonna do this, turn your individual tracks down. Oh, somehow my master track got turned down? Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing, you guys. Pretend you didn't see that. So I like to have my my tracks kind of peaking, like maybe -6 tops before I start hitting the master processing. Oh, there's some leeway there. So now I can turn this on. There's a better before and after. Before and after. So what I'm doing with this process is I'm making the highs and lows a little more exciting to match the way our ears hear things when they are louder. I'm using the saturator to add some upper harmonics, which makes us feel like things are louder and more exciting. And then I'm using the limiter to squash the dynamics and actually make it louder. So the end result, loudness. So let's hear my masterpiece here real quick. Nice and loud. Forgot to fix that note. Pretty cool. Feel like a little proud of myself to get those first two clips, that green one and the one that ended with the Star Ocean clip, to blend and transition smoothly to a second chord progression through a compatible pivot chord. Pretty clever. It doesn't always work out that way. Well, neat. Track using only samples from video games from start to finish-ish. In only 1 hour and 45 minutes, minus some technical difficulties. Well, if any of you are still left after all that, thanks for hanging out and tuning in. I appreciate the comments. Appreciate y'all letting me know when the stream is malfunctioning. And thanks, Jay, for taking care of that. I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks, Gabe, for suggesting that we do some more sampling tonight. I always want to do what people want to see. So if anyone's curious about anything, shoot us a message wherever we can be found. Instagram's great. Click the buttons that you're supposed to do on the places that you're looking and all that good stuff. And we'll catch you next time. Adios.